Welcome, viewer.
Hello.
This is Free Music Empire Attention Undivided. I am your host. You can call me Crib Notes because I'm giving you the skinny. I'm giving you what it means. This is Dano, Free Music Empire. And we have an incredible guest, someone who's really part of an important movement, artistic movement here. We're talking about Big Flowers.
Hello.
Big Flowers released Big Smile. Are you from Buffalo?
So I'm not from Buffalo. No, I make art in Buffalo currently. You know what I mean?
Yep.
It's a beautiful, beautiful city. I love it here, man.
I read something that you were from Buffalo, and I was like, wow, what? This must be interesting. So where are you from originally?
So I'm from Poughkeepsie, the Poughkeepsie area, which is like north. Yeah.
Cool.
It's grew up there. Came up here for school. Came up here for school again once I finished my bachelor's.
Yep.
Made it up here for a master's in education. Some shit happened with that, and I was like, well, I'm here. I have this lease. You know what I mean? It's $300 a month rent. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
So I'm just here to fucking, take my time. It was the first time I ever had like full jurisdiction and like on my schedule, just to like have the agency to do whatever I wanted artistically. And that was really liberating. Like I wanted to just kind of like keep that going. So I have, you know what I mean? That was last August. You know what I mean?
Yeah. No, that's wild that you like, from last August you were in a totally different situation from where you are now. And where you are now is just getting talked about by all these people racking up merchandise, like really putting a stamp on what you're doing.
And it's funny because it's like, dude, I don't hear all that many people talking about me, and I like that. You know what I mean? I don't like all this noise around my name. Especially not Michael. You know what I mean?
Mm-hmm.
Like Big Flowers, whatever. Y'all like if people are gonna talk about it, people can talk. Like I put something out there and I knew that was gonna come with it. I remember Dean Spencer told me one time, like just something about, I don't even remember what he said, but it was something about like letting it go. It's gonna be exactly what you want it to be. And I think it was like, and then he said something else. The two most like meaningful music like industry related pieces of advice he ever gave me were like that and like what was your first album is just an introduction to yourself. It doesn't need a single. You know what I mean? It doesn't need a hit,
Oh, that's a good call.
Yeah. And I mean, like, as far as I'm concerned, next project's my first album too. It's just another, you know what I mean? Like, I don't know. I'm planning on doing a lot this year, and then I have no plans after that.
And it's exactly kind of the mentality that I like. It's weird because what I do is, like I said, because I've been a writer and I've done all this stuff, I really try and look at these projects from who made them and what they wanted to accomplish, right?
Right.
And so sometimes I feel like I get it. I get where you're at, and so when we were doing State of the Game, when we were breaking down your album, and I was like, this next album isn't going to be like this. It's just not. This is not. It is like.
And it's funny because I was thinking about that for like hours. Like, I don't know. I wanted to understand just internally, like, is that actually going to be the case? Like, is my next project going to be that viscerally different than what I've done? And I don't.
What you said is the important part. You nailed it. When you said just a second ago that the next album's your first album too.
Yeah.
It doesn't carry baggage. It doesn't carry any carryover. Like, that's it.
Right. Like, personally, I think that like it's this year. You know what I mean? Like, right. There's something about a plot that makes everything so fun. The number 6 is very like important to plots with me. I'm gonna kill this video filter because it looks stupid. But yeah, I was just gonna say like Why is it blurry? Oh, boom. All right. Yo, I'm terrible. My fault. My fault.
Oh, good.
Zoom is crazy to me still. I'm like such a grandfather at the end of the day. But my fault. You're gonna have to redirect me where we were.
No, it's we're talking about how like it, because some artists they do like to build within the same universe. It's almost like being like
I
a
remember.
fiction writer. You
I
know,
remember. Yeah.
you're like the detective goes here, and he goes
Yes.
there, and he goes there.
Yes.
Whereas
And
you're like, nah, man, this is gonna be different.
that's what I'm kind of planning on, right? Like this Big Smile saga. You know what I mean?
Mm-hmm.
And it's like from here until 1 year, it's just like kind of gonna be like not to put any minimalization on the projects that I'm working on,
Right.
but like because they're really like I really like them. Like there's one I was literally like I looked at my phone because I was like I see myself getting into the heat of something. Every time I get into the heat of something creatively, I have to check my clock and be like, what time is it? Do I have anything? And I see 8:07. I'm supposed to be on the Zoom call right now. You know what I mean? But I'm like mixing this project right now. It's called Yuzu Blossom. It's fun. I really, really like it. It was like just kind of like yuzu being like that acidic fruit. Yeah, so it's like a Japanese lemon, pretty much. So it was just like, I mean, I was tripping in the city like a lot, and I was listening to 4 albums in specific because they were black and white album covers. It was like Concept Jackson, What We Do in the Dark, right. Brass by Billy Woods and Warm Weather, and Unknown Infinite.
Yes.
With you know what I mean? Like that one was like.
Yep. No, I'm with you.
And then Like Hajime by Akai and Best Friend, right?
Oh yes.
Hold up.
Yep. Like Hajime. Oh, that's an album.
I just got it on cassette today.
That is an album. That is.
It's
sorry, but
fucking.
It's like, yeah. But no, it's killer. It's super.
You can't see it. That's terrible. But yeah, no. What an album. That's like. I think that'll eternally be my favorite Akai album. Like, there's just some like he just came like so. I remember I talked to him one time about this on like, oh, we were playing Smash, and then nothing ever came of it because I lost all the footage and files. But like, I talked to him and Jefferson about the album. That was just like they did it in like 7 days, right? And it just feels like, all right, y'all actually captured Akai. You know what I mean? Like, and you got Jefferson doing that, and he's like, he works like he's good, like, bro. He because he got that and the Kia in the same year. It's just like, come on, like.
I mean, well, he like, Mad Moon feels like the most accessible Akai, right? Like, I think I described that as like
Mad Space. Oh, Mad Space.
Mad Moon, Mad Space. Yeah.
Yes. That one, I mean, yeah, bro. Ibbles just makes
you
like
put that on and play basketball to it. Like
Ibbles makes that just like boom bap. You know what I mean? Like that real fucking. It feels like it. You know.
But like Hajime feels like an
experience.
It feels like the secret level of Akai you only get to once you've gone like through the other levels, and then you're.
But it's like one of those weird situations where post game is almost more fun than like it. You know, like I don't know. I'm still in a process of digesting that album. You know, like I haven't really listened to Raft as much. I like 11th Wind caught me. I love that one. That was great.
Yeah.
But like Hajime gets a lot of playtime. That's one of my favorite albums of all time.
And one of those albums is in my first question. Very interesting stuff. The last year, I was flipping my lid over an Unknown Infinite, and when Imani followed it up with Constant Condensation, I was calling him a generational talent. Gang paused me and made sure I knew that this is a movement, that there's a whole bunch of people out here really doing this level of stuff. And
it's funny.
Because oh, go ahead.
I don't want to interrupt too much. My fault. Go ahead.
No, I was about to say, I'm glad he did, because you, Diani, Logi, like Akai. It seems like a wave, like of just a different kind of rap music.
Yeah, I mean, I don't know. It's been cool. Like Diani, like I've met Akai one time. I met Amani one time. Both of them are really, really like cool dudes. Like, Amani's pretty reserved. I was really just like buying a camera off him, but he's like pretty reserved, but he's very like wholesome. You know what I mean?
Yep.
You could tell he's just like about what he does, and it's not like I remember he was talking about the artist of Unbound Function, and I think Amani is another perfect example of that. If you look at A Constant Condensation, right?
Yep.
That last track specifically, the third track, I think specifically, beautiful. It's just like these ridiculous sonic contortions that it's literally like, to me, when an artist does that, it's like, fuck you for listening to my album. But at the same time, if you're still here, I love you. You know what I mean? Right. Like, if you can sit through, especially the last track, oh my God, that was like, it gave me like shades of Redburns by Standing on the Corner. It's just like, that's what jazz is to me now. You know what I mean? Right. Jazz isn't, and I think COVID really fucking blew the lid off of what jazz means. You know what I mean? Because jazz has always meant conversation, but we all have so many tools, right? And we all have such crazily fed egos that it's like, bruh, let's just all do it ourselves and have a conversation within a community, as opposed to, you know what I mean? And like, Amani can make an entire album, right? And that's part of the jazz conversation, right? And I think that that's where it is right now. And it's like, I don't know, and I'm taking myself out of that conversation, you know what I mean? Because that's not what I haven't effectively done that, you know what I mean? I play guitar, I like it, but like, whatever, man. Like, they're awesome, and I like I take so much inspiration, especially from Amani, and Akai too. Akai, talking to Akai was fucking crazy, dude. He don't rap. I mean, I'm not saying he doesn't rap, right? He just has such a brilliant and like eloquent lexicon that it just like kind of precipitates, you know what I mean?
And like, the more I listened and the more I like really honed in on what he was saying, I was like, you could live by this shit. Like, this is like, you bust down these bars, you could write these down and live by them. Like,
and he does, and I think that's what makes Akai. You talk about generational talents. I think Akai is another one of these people where it's just
agreed.
You spell his name in all caps because he deserves that. You know what I mean? He like, I genuinely don't like when people do that, right? I don't like when you tell someone this is how you have to spell my name. But I think him, Lucid, they earn the right to do so. You know what I mean? But it's just like, I don't know. I think Akai and Lucid too, they're perfect examples of like, because I remember in State of the Game, you were talking about how Lucid's just a madman, right?
Right.
But I think both of them exist so purely in their own language, so sensibly, 100%. Right? So, and it's not even mad once you agree with them, sign that agreement that says like, I'm here with you. You know what I mean?
Right.
And I think that that's the best conversation to have with somebody when you're just listening to that. As music goes, I think that one of my sisters said this once where she's just like, I don't even listen to the words. It's just, I want to be able to work out to it. You know what I mean? And it's like, boom, function. You know what I mean? There is functional music. And then I was talking to, who was I talking to about this? I think it was, I can't remember. I think it was.
Because it is food, right? It's like, you want different music for different, like you said, functions, but sometimes you want to go deeper than the functions.
Right. And I think that's what I'm kind of getting at. Like, regardless of who I was talking to. I just had a conversation recently with Willie Green. And that was like really, really fucking impactful to me. And it was just like, usually I'm playing my fucking DM game, like, yo, like, if you ever need art, whatever, you know what I mean? Like, I try and network. And I mean, I try not to be too much of a head ass about it. And I know I've probably like, you know, been a little annoying in the past or whatever, but like, yo, dude, I just like, I like doing what I do. You know what I mean? And I don't know, but Green reached out to me. I mean, I had said some stuff to him in the past, like we had said a few words here or there, but then he reached out to me, said like something about the album, and I was like, damn, what? And then I saw he bought the album, and I like printed it out. I printed it out, the big smile. Willie bought it, and I put it on my fridge. I was like, yeah,
man. It's,
you know,
he's been a part of all the best records you can imagine. It's
and it was just like really cool conversation, but it brought me to that kind of like,
because
if there's ever been like I was feeling this way where it's like, because I don't love doing one thing for an extended period of time. You feel me?
Understand.
Like, there are days where you could not get me to collage if my life depended on it, right? Like I'll say I'll bite the bullet. It's fine, you know. But if there's ever been a time where I feel like I should do something musically, it's now, right? Like I didn't really have this grand plan going into this year, right? But it just kind of manifested, right? The Yuzu Blossom thing that I was talking about. I wrote the whole thing, bar one verse, in like half of one verse in the trip that I took down to record Big Smile in the city, right?
Wow. Yep.
So it's like that, and I had like a whole idea for it at the time, and it's not exactly what I planned it, but like I'm happier with how it turned out. You know what I mean? Because that's how it turned out. You know what I mean? I love it because anytime I have this like plot for something, always goes complete, and I love it, right?
Well, there was a Grant Morrison quote who was like, he said, getting a story done is like moving a file cabinet out of your head.
Yeah. Dude, oh my God. That, like, when people were asking me what like the album meant to me, like moving into like that time, I was like, bro, I just need to get rid of it at this point. I don't care what it means anymore. You know what I mean? You tell me. I don't give a, and I don't know, bro. It was just like, I love that album, right? But like yesterday was like maybe 2 days ago. What was it? The 28th. I remember because I was like a month, right? That was the first day I listened to it since it came out. Like I was like, bro, you could not catch me dead listening to that album. I was working on other things, you know what I mean?
Right.
And it was like, I don't know, you just live with it for so long and then you let it go. And it's like this little part of you that exists elsewhere.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? And you have the agency to walk away from it. You know what I mean?
Nope.
So I did, you know what I mean? And it was great. You know, I still tried to plug it because there was echoes of that Dean thing of just like, this is what you make it. You know what I mean? So
it takes a while to get that done. But yeah, I was to the jazz thing you mentioned about this being kind of the new jazz. The reason I picked the Ornette Coleman Shape of Jazz to Come cover behind me was just that like that album's really important, and him just saying, look, jazz has to change. The rules have to die. We have to create this new, you know, free jazz and all that. And that's a lot of this feels that way with like the pockets are new, the sounds are new, the song lengths are new, like everything is new. And like we're doing it a different way so it can live and be vibrant again.
And it's funny because it's like right now, Amani, yes, making jazz. I feel like, yes, Amani without question is making jazz. And there are jazz collaborations.
Yep.
But it's like, it's hard. Like, I can't consider what I'm doing jazz, right? Like, because I didn't make 90% of the beats. You know what I mean?
Right.
Like I might be partaking in it. You know what I mean? But it's only a piece, right? And I'd love to be able to go ahead and like do jazz, right? I just haven't had the actual agency to like make music as my primary thing. You know what I mean?
Right. But what you're doing is non-linear and avant-garde in some manner, right?
Sure.
So,
I'm just a piece of shit and I focus so much on motherfucking, you know, nomenclature. Because I do think, I mean, nomenclature is like, not nomenclature itself, but just like words, right? They are a very large part of what I do. You know what I mean? It's just like, and like, I'll extend that to icons, right? Because words are just like organized icons that we've come to. You know what I mean? So it's like a lot of what I do graphically is very like based around iconographic minimalism, right? And it's just being able to capture a thought, an idea into one generally non-obtrusive thing. You know what I mean?
Yep.
And it's like, how can I do that? I don't know musically, you know what I mean?
Right.
Like I did some fucking meditation videos. That felt cool, but like I don't think ambient music means that. You know what I mean?
That's fair.
That's not minimalism, right?
Right.
But I think agoraphobia maybe. That might be minimalism. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
Cool. Thanks.
It's amazing. Because usually when something's like 13 seconds, it's like it's a burp sound that you have no idea why it's there, and you're just like, geez, you know. Like,
you ever hear Napalm Death?
It sounds familiar, but I can't place it right now.
Can I do a screen share in this thing?
Probably, yeah.
All right. Oh yeah, share screen.
Your screen?
You have disabled screen sharing.
I have disabled it? Oh no.
You have disabled it.
Oh, that's bad. Let's see. Multiple participants can share. That seems weird. Zoom is putting that up for you. Whew. Anyway.
You can see that or no?
No, not yet.
All right, hold on. Let me pull it up.
But yeah, no, it's yeah. There's a lot going on. Oh, we're sharing. We're getting it. Dang.
What is the short song? Yeah, I'll just type that. Yeah, they have like 2 second, 3 second songs. You know what I mean?
Yep.
It's like, this is what I always think about when it comes to like short songs. That's it. You know what I mean?
Wow.
Yeah, there's just like literally like 2 seconds of nothing, you know?
Interesting.
Boom.
That's awesome.
I think that's mad funny, you know what I mean? Like, but like, I wanted that. I wanted that. You know what I mean?
Yep. But you had a theme for it, and you had it mapped out. It means something within the context of the album. Which is what I love. You know, like I'm a short story writer. That's kind of
cool,
my home, right?
I didn't know that. That's awesome.
And so like what I would do is, you know, you get a famous person, H.P. Lovecraft, whatever, right? You pick up the collection. Because of who I am and what I do, I would be like, I would look at the shortest story. Give me the shortest story. This thing's 5 pages. What did you do in 5 pages? What did you do in 3 pages? I want to see how, if that's a killer story in 3 pages, I'm in. Let's go.
That's I think that concept of limitation and concept itself, right, is very powerful, but also can get very abrupt and corny. You know what I mean? If you get too tied into it. And I think, again, I'll talk about Amani, very, very, very powerful, ambiguous, kind of like leave it up to the reader meta to an album, right? And then you have a thematic concept album and like Hajime, which is a little more guided, right? But both of them are like thematic, right? And I think that it's a very, very powerful thing to have a theme. And when there's no theme, it kind of seems like, what the fuck are we swinging at? You know what I mean? Like, I knew the thing was going to be called Yuzu Blossom that I'm working on now months ago. You know what I mean? I called it Yuzu Blossom for whatever reason. I don't know, right? And then I'm in the city tripping. I'm like, I'm on acid. Acidic, yuzu, let's do it. You know what I mean? Like, And I don't know, it just kind of like was coming, like it was just a little one-liner here, one-liner there, and like it just kind of like precipitated into this thing, right? And really cool, right? And then Messiah Music hits me up off Big Smiles, right? And like like the day after I released it, I'm like, bro, what? You're that guy. Like I know who he is, you know what I mean? What? You're in what? Right? And I'm bugging. And now we're doing a project together.
Messiah is incredible. Yeah.
And we have like this whole theme, like it's cool. Like he's like, yo, what was it? Because we were calling it Save the Bees. I don't know why I chose that, right? But again, like, but like, I think it came from this line. I was like, don't appreciate the flower too long, save the bees, right?
Oh, that's fair.
And like, I'll leave the rest up for whatever, right? But it like, dude, I mean, he sent me like 50 beats, 70 beats.
Yeah, he's always, you know what I mean? He's incredible.
And like, going through them all, right? At first, it was like easy, right? Easy. And then I wrote 2 songs. It immediately became harder, right? But not that hard, right? I was still like taking beats like crazy, right?
Right.
And then once we had 10 beats, it was like the hardest thing in the world. You know what I mean? To pick the last 2, right?
Yep.
It was just like, dude, what? No, we have a thing going on. It's Save the Bees now. You know what I mean? And then we're on the phone yesterday, right? And this dude's talking to me. He's like, for some reason, we end up like, yo, all right, so what if instead of doing side A and side B, we do it like separated by head, abdomen, thorax, stinger, wings. You know what I mean? And like fit the beats into those, like what that abstracted and feels like, you know what I mean? And it's like, bro, that's what I want to be doing. You know what I mean? Like, I remember somebody hit me up a while ago. And I mean, I say a while ago, it was 3 months ago, maybe. And they asked me to do a beat tape for them. Like just do, I like doing that where it's like a whole project, right? And how many minutes of music, this many minutes of music, let's go, right? So we did it, however many songs it is, I don't fucking know. It was just like 10 minutes of music. But the whole theme of it was a dinosaur documentary, right? And I was like, heard you. That was the most excited I've ever been for like a beat commission. You know what I mean? Because there was this like very visceral thing that you can grapple with, right? And just like concepts, I think that's all I'm getting at, right? Like it's powerful. I think concepts without it, it makes it hard to move, right? But again, it's just, I think, an aesthetic for the conversation to be consistent through. You know what I mean?
Right. No, I had a rule, like as a short story writer, my rule was that like you shouldn't know more about what's going on in the plot than I do, right? If you go up to me, you read my short story, you come up to me and say, well, why didn't he just go out the fire escape? That's on me. I should have thought that. You know what I mean? That's my job. So like, I need to know the world better than you. That's my job. And having your concepts, knowing your concepts, whether however you develop them, it means the listener is like, this person knows what they're doing. I trust them. I'm rolling with their vision. And so and the special thing about people like Diani or Amani is that they can bring the concepts, they can bring the music, and then there's feeling. They can get the feeling and nail the feeling. The craving, like I listened to the Cravings. I was like, this is exactly how this feels. Like,
and I think Diani does a fucking outstanding job, bro. I think she's that, and the two of them, like, dude, there was this one time, like, you know that part where he's like, could give a fuck about who get it first. I'm gonna get it how I get it word, right? And then Diani sends me the verse she did for my album, and she says like, I'm a flawless word, and everything I do is flawless word. And I'm not even saying they're biting, right? They just there are things where it's like exactly, like there's this synchronicity, you can't explain it, you know what I mean? And it's not like, I know that there's not this like, yo, what are you doing? You know what I mean?
Right.
Other than the love of like, you know, mutual creativity. You know what I mean? But it's like, And it's so cool to me when the same conclusion is reached by different means. And it's like something where you can't even come at it like you're biting. You know what I mean? It's just like you both agreed that this is something, you know what I mean? That works, you know?
And a Diani story, there's a version of that. It was so, I loved it. There was a virtual concert with the Shifts for Masai. Incredible.
Yes.
And I went to it, and my wife's like, hey, you know, if it's a concert, let's put it up on the TV. So we put it on the TV, and my son is like, I want to watch some of this before I go to bed. I'm like, whatever, dude, let's do it. You know, because even though there might be adult content going on, I have this idea that like your kids should kind of understand a little bit of grown-up shit they shouldn't. They should see.
I agree with that. I agree with that. And it's like, it's your job to gate it. It's not to remove it entirely, right?
Yes.
Because once you start building prisms for your children to live within, you know what I mean? It's like, it takes away their ability to do it themselves. You know what I mean?
So he got to see Diani perform.
And that's awesome.
He got to see Cocaine. And he was
fuck yeah.
He was like eyes open. And I was like, I'm so glad he's here to see this. This is a fucking beautiful song.
Dude, I think that she's one of my favorite people. Like, I talk about her damn near every time I talk to somebody from what right? Like, because I think like her career is so important. So mine in a way, it's just like there's not another person on the face of this planet, including myself, that has my artwork tattooed on.
That's awesome.
Crazy, right? And it's like she didn't even do it like that, right? She was scrolling. She was scrolling through her fucking timeline, saw something that she liked, and was like screenshotted it, cropped out the social media part of it, just kept the image, right? And was like, "Yo, can you tattoo this on me?" Right?
Mm-hmm.
She didn't even get like big flowers art, and then she's just like posting about it. I was like, "Wait, what the fuck?" That's crazy, right? And then it's just like been back and forth from there, and it's been like I produced 2 songs with her.
What did you produce on? Did you produce on Dopamine? How much?
Yeah, I did the intro, Give Me a Sign, and then I did For You.
Oh, with Allison Soul?
Yeah.
Holy shit, that's a great song. Love that.
Appreciate it. Yeah. No,
and I'd said Often Sedated is one of my favorite songs of the year. I just think Often Sedated, I think the world of it.
No, that's like, it's always back and forth between that and Two Ended. So like on my favorite verse, they're just song in general, you know, it's like on that album, I mean, favorite song of the year. That's hard. It might be that one song off of Charles' album With Love. Have you heard that?
No.
Brown Sounds. Oh, dude, he's great. He's young as fuck. Young as fuck, but he's awesome.
Yeah, it's but no, it's
03. So yeah, dude's young. He was born in 03. You feel me?
Fuck it.
He released it when he turned 18. It's got this like I know him through like mutual groups. But like Eyes Wide Shut, he's on Big Mile Steppin'.
Yep.
He's on this song, and it like I mean Eyes is my favorite rapper right now. Like I don't know, like hands down. But yeah, dude, like this kid, like that song is awesome. That might be my favorite song of the year. If not, it's definitely off of that the Brain Orchestra tape. This second song, Mike Doctor. I like if we're gonna do it off of statistics, I listen to that song a lot. A lot. And I also listen to a lot of like that Flint's I do listen to a lot of that Flint's too. I don't know if you tapped into like Rio de Young OG, I Swear Vezo, V's. Word. If you look at Lil Yachty's new album, it's a summative track list, right?
Yep.
All of them are from like Michigan, right? Every single one of them is incredible in their own right, in my opinion.
Wow. That's awesome. Now I gotta. I mean the who was the Bloomin' Volume 1? What is the? She was in Yachty's crew. Cody Shane.
Oh, I'm not familiar.
I love Cody Shane. But yeah, no, there's a lot of talented people out there, and that's one of the things that's really. Oh, by the way, the question, the Diana question was, is there any opportunity for a collaboration album with Diana? Is that
hold on. Let me call her quick.
That seems like something that would benefit everyone involved.
Let me see what if she picks up, I'm gonna ask her. If not, I'm gonna still ask her, but I'll let you know.
She's ill. That Jay Versace song was crazy.
Oh yeah.
Oh,
that shit was wild.
No, but you can just feel everything she's saying. It's similar to Imani in that sense. She just brings you there. But yeah, there's a lot of great stuff happening, and it's different. It's just different. It's like you said with the common ground with Akai, Imani, Diani, Masai is in there.
Masai, yeah, no, another one that's just like brilliant. You know what I mean?
Totally.
And she works with Keenan, or I don't know if it's still as much, but I mean, I know they're like
yeah.
Nah, Keenan.
Oh, Keenan, right.
Keenan, bro, that dude's fucking incredible. Like, I think he's like to me, the perfect example of how to be a musician, just in your day to day. Like, I ain't shit. You know what I mean? That dude always coming with some I ain't shit energy. And I'm like, bro, you're the greatest musician I've ever heard. Like, hands down. I need you to just calm yourself, right? Whatever.
That's awesome. I love that. I sometimes there are people who, and for me, I was one of these people where like accolades, too much positive shit about what I was doing. I didn't know how to handle it, and I just would outwardly reject it. Just like, get that shit out of here. Like I'm busy. I can't with that.
I'm the same exact way. Like, bruh, I love self-deprecation, and it makes me feel a sort of way. You know what I mean? Bro, I remember I was working on this thing that I'm releasing. When does this come out?
Next week, probably, yeah.
Word. Sometime past like Tuesday?
Yeah, definitely past Tuesday.
All right, bet. So like
100%.
This project that I'm putting out called Memories Grow. So like there's that dude Eyes Wide Shut that I was mentioning. I was on my project, Charles' project, right? He put out an album last year called Memories Bleed. It was probably my favorite album of the year, right? It's like he exists, like we both work together in this group now that we just like penny, right? And the dude is like one of the best rappers I've ever heard, and he just does it and does it and does it and does it, right? And then I was like sitting here on my like 20th, 30th fucking listen to this album, like I want to do something with it. I don't know what, but I want to do something with it. And then a couple of days later, I was like, yo, let me make a flip tape of this whole album. I hit him up like, yo, let me get the stems for the entire album. Or no, I'm like, yo, let me get stems. And he goes and sends me one song, and I was like, oh no, you got me fucked up, bro. You know what I mean?
Give it all to me. Yeah, that's
and he was good. You know, I we were talking about this recently, how much that means to just hand it off. You know what I mean? An album that you worked on, you finalized, and then this crazy motherfucker that lives in Buffalo, mind you, being like I don't know, a lot, like really far distance from where he's at in Arizona, right?
Yep.
Just handing him your entire album and being like, here you go, dude. Do your thing with it. And then I made, but either way, where did we get here? Oh. Damn, I don't remember.
I was the editor for like helped run a poetry night, the slam poetry organization in Maine, and we were gonna put out a collection, and we were like, hey, send us your poems, and all the poets were like, I don't really fuck with computers. This is a while ago, and so I was like, oh shit! So I had to go to all their smoke-filled houses and just collect pages and type them, and like edit along the way.
Cool.
It was a journey, just
1 second. 1 second. Hey, come here.
Dad,
Ziara, get away from the door. Ziara, come here.
that's the move.
Ziara.
Dad bod, rap bod. Gotta support it.
Big dog.
Good deal. So yeah, it was wild, but there's people in different places. You got to follow it. But looking at the notebooks is cool because you got to see some people write in like 2-bar, 4-bar increments, and some people are like, "Here's the page, that's it." I'm dumping it all, and everybody just had a different wavelength.
Yeah, it was interesting. Like, I was just like, I do iPhone notes, right? I most comfortably work with a phone in my hand. I don't know.
Right.
I'm a millennial. It's what I do. You know what I mean? I don't give a fuck. But I like how things are handwritten, and there's like, I know there's this thing that I seen some study a couple years back where it was talking about how handwriting is like a stronger memory link. Like typing something doesn't create a memory link the way that handwriting does.
Yeah.
Right? And I was just like, all right, cool. So I wanted to write the whole album out. And I did. I just finished it today, right? Barring video and Mr. FaceTime.
Yep.
And the bonus tracks, the 3 songs after video. But yeah, the main content from like got to grade the tunes that are on like the lyrical content from that. I just wrote it all out because it was just like I wanted to have that relationship. You know what I mean?
Different experience. It's a different experience.
Just a notebook. And I think I'm gonna keep on writing in it, and I'm gonna, once I catch up with where I'm at, I might start writing in it, but I don't know if I'll be able to keep up with my thought to it.
Having it as an option is cool, right? Having a different gear, right, to be able to switch into.
Exactly. It's again limitation, understanding the limitation. You know what I mean?
Yep. No, it's the other question is, how did video become 12 minutes and 55 seconds long?
Because it couldn't have been a single track, any given one of them. That's not, they all served the same purpose, but each of them was also so integral to that album. Like video itself was done probably a year and a half before 50% of the album. You know what I mean?
Wow.
Like video is the first song done, right? And I mean, didn't take much to finish it, right? Like it's like, and again, that's like an experiment limitation with me. It was like, what can we do with auto-tune, an acoustic guitar, and my phone's microphone, right? That whole thing was like produced entirely on BandLab on my phone. And it's like, and I don't know, it was like, it is what it is. Like, and I think it's cool because it's like, it's this really dusty fucking pissed on painting, right? In the attic that kind of caught on fire in the house, right? And it's just like, it needed to be 12 minutes for it to exist. You know, because I don't know, like especially the very end of it where I have the hiccups and whatever, right?
Right.
It's like, the idea of that being its own song is just so stupid to me. That's not, here's what you can do with 13 seconds, right? That is ear fudge. You feel me? Right. That's just like jamming a finger into your ear and calling it a song. You know what I mean? Like, for me, it's like, if you are willing to understand a little bit more of why this album is the way it is, You know what I mean? Like I remember you pointed on it where it was like earned teeth, earned smile. You know what I mean? These are the most, maybe they're the molars. You know what I mean? But that's how you fucking eat. You know what I mean?
That's real. That's real. No, it's and it. I guess the awesome part to me is you really have to have faith in the idea that you start with.
Yeah.
When you do something like that, when you're going 12 minutes 55 seconds and you're like, that's the idea, that's what I believe in, let's do it.
Right. I mean, bro, as soon as it's past 4 minutes these days, it's all the same length.
Right. That's a fair point. Yeah. People are it's long once it's over 4. So whether
you're either tuned into it or you're not. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
For you to make it 5 minutes into a song these days is an accomplishment in itself, and you're probably gonna make it through the rest. You know?
Yep. Yeah. No, that's the way it is at this point. It's different, and I think it's part of. Mark Speck talks about this great on his timeline. Is that there's the technology and the infrastructure, the American economic infrastructure is built to minimize art and kind of destroy and replace art, right? That basically he'll say like it's not a coincidence that it's getting easier to make music. Like they ultimately want it to be an algorithm.
But right? I think that essentially what you just said it, right? It's getting easier to make music. It's always been the same challenge to make art, right?
Wow, that's real. Yes.
And I think that, again, right, that's why jazz is so fun, because jazz is like, to me, jazz is the most contemporary, and in that etymological sense of like with this moment, right? What are you doing right the fuck now? Jazz and house, you know what I mean? Like true clubhouse, like you're in this room with these people. Are they dancing? Are they not? Let's get it on. You know what I mean?
Yep.
Like, I just think like it's the conversational. Hey.
It's all good, man.
Come on. It's okay.
Dad Red Pod, baby. Where did it go? The cup. Boom.
Dad Bod Rap Pod.
Yep. Doing it for me.
Anyways, but yeah, it's that conversational element of music that I think that moves it towards art. And it's like the music is the medium. And I think that that's all, and we consume media, right? And it gets compartmentalized into this word that has its own conventions, and it has this like electronic connotation to it, right?
Yep.
But it's just the plural of the word medium, right? This is the medium that it's being presented to you in. You know what I mean?
Right.
The art of, or the act of consuming it in the first place is a fragile experience. It walks this tightrope of being bastardized. You know what I mean?
Right.
To be consumed in the first place, right? And then what you do with it, at that point, it's like, if the artist truly gave you themselves,
right?
It's like it's a child, it's a baby, right? It's something that needs to ferment, right?
Right.
And like, you have to carry it as such. I truly believe, you know what I mean?
Mm-hmm.
Like, when I'm listening to an Unknown Infinite, I'm not doing something else. You know what I mean?
Yes.
But I haven't gotten there with Haram still, right?
Right.
Because it came out so close to my album, this, that, the third. I haven't really dove into another album since then, just because I've been so busy, right? Because it was just so concurrent doing the animation for that album and then having my album drop. It's just been like a torrent of work, right? And I'm like, that's all I want. You know what I mean?
Yep.
All the more validation that I'm doing what I feel like I need to be doing, and it's working out. You know what I mean? But yeah, dude, and it's just like, I'm not gonna sit here, and I know I said this a little bit in the talk I did with Dylan, but I'm not gonna sit there and give Haram a passer's glance. You know what I mean? I'm not gonna window shop that album.
Totally.
It's not worth contextualizing it or normalizing it for myself that it just exists as music in that caliber. And I think that's what makes Bandcamp so important to me, right?
Right. Well,
Spotify is
times like that. Like I had the same thing with Brass, right? Brass came out, and
dude, that album to me is better. That album to me is better than Haram from what I've heard. I gotta say, and I'm not saying anything on Lucid because Lucid comes to perform, and I'm not saying anything on Woods either, right?
No.
I think what Green did with that album, I think I'll say on his behalf, that's where I think the album shines more.
Yeah.
What Green did with the beats themselves, what Green did with their voices, the world that he created on that album. I won't say that it's a better album, right? Let me retract my statement a little bit.
It's exciting.
If you could censor me for like 5 seconds there. You know what I mean? No, but like, I just think that Brass was just like the body of work that like, I think that could be the most epitomous Willie Green album that I've heard.
It's awesome.
You know what I mean? Like, if you want like a good example of like him, katana fully sharpened, coming at you, you know what I mean?
Yep.
That's that album. I think track 6, I forget what the name of it. It might be Archaeology or something. That is the perfect example of like Willie Green, Billy Woods.
Yep.
Like, get out of the fucking way. You know what I mean?
Well, and it was so exciting to hear like More Mother is such like an adventurer, like by nature.
Yeah.
Just someone who's like, fuck it.
She exists.
Something we've never seen before, you know? And it was such a beautiful energy and mixture with that it was, but I had to do like, you know, when you buy like a Thomas Pynchon book and you're like, this is great, but I can't do this right now, right? It's going to go on myself. When I have the time, that's when I'm going to pull this back out and get this. Yeah.
The same thing happened with me for Brass. Brass came to like my true listening sphere right around February. Yep. But it was like, bro, I was like mad. I was like, damn, this shit is so good, right?
Yep.
Why haven't I been listening to this since it came out? You know what I mean? But I mean, it's just so much music comes out, you know?
So much. But what I was gonna say regarding like the algorithm and stuff is like the algorithm can't make Big Smile, right? Big Smile is one of the most human albums of the year, right?
Heard you. Yeah, I think that's kind of what I wanted it to be, you know? I just wanted it to be like base level me being a human. You know what I mean? Just like the collective experience of the time that I've spent up to this point. You know what I mean?
Yep.
I think that my favorite example of what you're talking about is 6 Feet Beneath the Moon by King Cruel. Right? Because it's just like,
oh my God.
It's like, it's the debut, right? It's this culminative effort of like everything that you've ever been working on. You know what I mean?
King Cruel's the man.
How else do you step forward, right? How else do you put yourself on square one, right? And it's like that, it has to be, I don't know, or it doesn't have to be, right? But it's just like, I can't do it again. I'll never have that opportunity again, ever.
But you're right. 6 Feet Beneath the Moon establishes the world of King Cruel, right?
Right.
That's that. Like, you're either in or out.
Yes, exactly.
Yeah.
And every other, I think, and it's funny because like, Hiatus Coyote, another one, where it's just like, boom, here, D'Angelo, right? Yeah. And all of these musicians take years to put out albums, right? Mm-hmm. And I don't know. I think that's where I need to focus. But meanwhile, I'm working on like 4 for this year, honestly.
I think they were tough. Like Super Duty Tough Work podcast with Blueprint and E-Logic. They were talking about like the different speeds you work. Like sometimes you're dropping stuff, maybe EPs or singles to like stay in the mix. but you have work that is like your longer work that you're taking time with.
Yeah.
Years, right? Like, and
Yeah.
I was listening to the other stuff you've put out, and I was like, this stuff is great. It's all different, but like none of it is Big Smile, and that's because
Right.
that time happened with it where you really rocked it. Yeah.
Bloom cycle, any of the Bloom cycles that I put up, those were a day's worth of work. Like from making the beats to mixing it, that all have each of those was like me. What can I do in a day? You know what I mean?
Right.
That's what that. And I love flip tapes. Keenan, huge flip tape proponent for me. He does like a flip tape every other fucking week. You know what I mean? That's and awesome. It's amazing. And I don't know. I wanted to have something kind of like that, and it was fun. And that's like that project, Memories Grow, that I was saying, right? Like made a flip tape of that whole album, right? That's what that was for me, where it was just like I did that all in a day. I made the 14 beats. I mixed them the day after, but I like put all his vocals on the same day. You know what I mean? And it was just like, I need to, because for me, it's like there needs to be a theme, right? And I need to stick to it, because as soon as I break it, not just that one thing, everything fails. Everything, right? The whole system goes up in flames if I cut a corner, right? Because as much as it might not show, I know. Well, I fucking know.
Right. And at that point, like I said, it is about faith. It is about having faith that like you see the vision through, you get this done. And people used to, sell out their original ideas to get rich, but no one's getting rich anymore like that.
Right. So and I think
might as well stick to what you want, right? Like
if that's what you're chasing, dude, my roommate is on these calls about like money trading. Bro, that's where you need to be. Get the fuck out of the music industry. You know what I mean?
That is so real. That is so fucking real. Yeah.
Get on Clubhouse. That's that's like the app that I feel like you can make money on, Clubhouse. Because you just like have VCs that just meet up every once in a while. You have this shot, 30-second. It's like, that's the modern day elevator pitch. You know what I mean?
Right.
I fucking hate that app. Like, I think the app is great for what it is. It serves its purpose, but I would never. You know what I mean? That's like entering a room full of VCs for me. Why would I ever enter that room?
I don't have any iPhones. I don't like. It was weird because like people were like, "I can get you in. I can get you in," and I'm like, "Dude, I don't have an iPhone. I don't have any of that shit." So it kind of. But in the end, I was like, I'm kind of glad because I started this shit like just as a shitty little blog that no one cared about. Like,
yeah.
And I'm proud of the progress I've made organically,
dude. And I think that is the hallmark of success, right?
Right.
If I can sit here and tell you I'm successful, fuck yourself if you try and tell me otherwise. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
I don't think that there's any two ways about it. And it's like, if there's, because I've met some artists that they're like shrouded with doubt. And I'm just like, bruh, that is the one way, surefire, you won't be successful in what you do.
It's torture. If you don't have personal standards for your work, all you have is other people's standards of your work.
Boom. And back to that thing we were saying about Akai and just existing in their own language, right? You need to do that for yourself. You know what I mean? You can't live relative to other people because they're not dying with you. You know what I mean?
Totally.
The entire process of it from now until then. You know what I mean? They are not here with you. And even if they are existing in another way. You know what I mean?
Right.
They perceive things in their context. They're not seeing what you're seeing.
The moment I had that was most like the best metaphor I can give for this is I remember like me and my wife had announced our wedding, like, and the engagement had happened, all that shit. Like, so we're sitting with people, right? Relatives, like third level, like relatives who like aren't that tight with us. And some of them are like spitballing weird ideas that could happen at our wedding. And I'm like, you ain't gonna be there. Like, you ain't gonna be there. So like, you can spitball it, and when it fails, you're at home watching Ninja
Right.
Warrior while I'm in the shit. Like, no, I can't do this. I can't get your idea because you're not going to be there. You got to have personal standards and goals because the world is madness, and
Yeah.
you might be around people who are just clowns and give
Right.
ideas that are clown ideas, and you need to be able to say, "Nah, I'm shooting for here." That's what I do.
Right. And I think that this is something I had to learn the hard way. Spend time with your idea before you share it. You know, make it a part of you. Live with it.
Right.
Like, know it's something that you're still going to be as excited about 6 months, 6 years.
Yep.
6 lifetimes from now. You know what I mean?
That's one of the big differences with this movement. Like, I don't like calling it art rap. There's a lot of names we've been tossed around.
I don't know what to call it. You know what I mean? Because it's not a sound, right? It's not. Right. It's an intention. I really believe that it's an intention. And I don't like speaking. And this is the thing.
Dad Bod Rap Pod, they pitched an idea for calling it the Vanguard. That kind of sounds like a Star Wars villain group of some sort.
2 things. 1, I don't think it should be a thing. I don't think it needs to be a thing. It's like, if there's ever been, and I'm not saying this like I'm a part of it or I can speak on its behalf, because I don't think that I have the jurisdiction to do so. But like, as a viewer or someone observing it on a meta level, right? Yep. If there's ever been a genre or a movement, I think that's a good way to explain it, right? Yep. A movement in music that deserves to be nameless. It's this. You know what I mean? Just let it speak, because it's doing so much speaking. You know what I mean?
Yep.
And like, don't capitally consume it. You know what I mean? Sure. Don't, like, you have to purchase your way into it. You are not listening to an unknown infinite enough times in the I think, I don't remember what the number was, but there is a set number of listens, right? I think it's 3 on default on Bandcamp before you have to buy the thing, right? Mm-hmm. And you can't stream it. I mean, I'm sure you could figure it out, but it becomes annoying, right? 3 times is not enough to fully digest that album. I don't care who you are. You know what I mean?
Yep.
Bruh, Amani needed to listen to that album 3 times before he even understood what he was fucking saying. You know what I mean?
Right.
You can't capitally consume this music. You have to buy your way in, but you're telling an artist you have faith in them when you buy their thing on Bandcamp. When you press that buy button, because you can stream it, you can listen to it at least 1 time.
Right.
And if the first 30 seconds didn't catch you, you're probably not going to buy it. You know what I mean?
But if you bought it, if you spent $10 on it, $5 on it, then you have a relationship with it.
Right? And you have it for life.
Whoa.
It doesn't get lost. Like, as much as I might add to my Bandcamp, I have a total of 200 albums in my Bandcamp, right?
Yep.
That's something I can effectively sift through. It doesn't get lost. Bro, I had 20,000 songs on my Spotify. What the fuck am I going to do with that?
Right.
You know? Cut it and decimate it, right? And decimate in that true etymological sense where it means cut it by 1/10 of its, or to 1/10 of its size.
And that's like what, when I started Freemusicempire during the mixtape era, right? At the height of the mixtape era. And one of the reasons I started it was because I would be at parties and people would be like, man, rap music sucks now. And I was like, actually, there's this cat, there's there's Currency, there's blah, blah, blah. And people were like, what do you mean? Well, it's hard to find it. And I'd be like, and so a lot of my writing was like, no, as listeners, we have a responsibility too. Like,
as it should be, though. You know what I mean? Like, I think it needs to be somewhat unpalatable. Right. I think it needs to be crusty, you know? It's not lo-fi. I fucking hate when people call it lo-fi, because
that's weird.
They don't even know what the fi means. And it's like, I'm sorry, but the quality of a lot of these albums is like really, really good. how are you going to call a Willie Green album lo-fi? You know what I mean?
Right.
Like, that is one of the hallmarks of fidelity in the modern day.
There's some of those terms. Like my pet peeve term is Afrobeat, because that's a UK term for African music.
Sure.
And I'm not comfortable with that. That doesn't sound like what we should do.
I just think like it all is become so specific.
Yeah.
Right?
Yeah.
There was this city that I lived near called Beacon, and there was a marshmallow store, right? It's all become so specific, right? Yeah. And they were there for years, right? You're not here for a genre anymore. You're here for live, right? One of the most brilliant, you're here for Kia. You're here for J-Words, right? Yes. You are there to see what these people have to offer. And it's like a restaurant, bro. It truly is. And it's like, the menu might change and you might not love every meal, but you remember that one time, right? You always remember that one time you got your mind blown. You know what I mean? And it takes a lot to break that. And I don't like, none of the people that we've mentioned in the breadth of this conversation have come anywhere close to like selling out or whatever it would take to break that. You know what I mean? Everyone is just delivering such beautiful content. You know what I mean? With the Shifts is another perfect fucking example of just like a contemplated true effort. You know what I mean?
Yep. I mean, it's almost like, you know, if you live in a city and it doesn't have a good restaurant community, and then all of a sudden the city blows up, population gets up, it's culturally diverse now. Honestly, this is just Portland, Maine. I'm describing Portland, Maine. But so all of a sudden there's great restaurants everywhere, Mexican restaurants, Ethiopian restaurants, killer restaurants. Now, as someone who goes to restaurants, you have a responsibility to pick the restaurants. You're not just getting a burger. There's like 6 great burger places in town.
Yeah.
What do you choose? Right? So,
and it's like re-happening in a lot of cities that have already been gentrified because of COVID. You know what I mean?
Yep.
You saw so many businesses shut down, and now this, that, the third is opening up. You know what I mean? Mm-hmm. And it's like, whoa, there's an abundance of choice as the consumer.
Figure out what you support, right? What you're going to put yourself in. So with State of the Game, I jokingly called it like a journey to the heart of music, but that's honestly kind of what it's turned into, where we're like, half the time we're talking about the albums and why they're good or not good, but the other half of the time we're talking about how we're listening to them.
Right. No, and I think that was highlighted very heavily.
Right.
I appreciated how little it was really about the album that I made. You know what I mean? Because it's like, that's not what that album is to me. The album is not the album. You know what I mean?
Right.
It's like, to me, that album is my attempt at This Is Not a Pipe. You know what I mean?
Yep.
Like, you're not supposed to be looking at it. You know what I mean?
Mm-hmm.
I don't know.
That makes sense. No, there is a hypnotic quality to it where you can just fall into it, you know, and not grab all the other stuff. But if you do, there's so much, and there's so many times where I will pull direct quotes and lyrics from the album, read them without the music, obviously, and my co-host will be like, wow, you know, like it'll just change how we thought about it, because you weren't grounded in that moment, and that's when we found,
I think it's
reading albums is important. If you can read the song and it's dope, right?
Yeah, I just finished it up. Like, it's like
nice.
You know?
Yep.
This kind of like, oh, there's this blur effect on my video, but cool. There's a blur effect on it. Anyways, yeah, I just finished it up. It'll be in something in the future. I just like that, being able to unpackage an idea, right? Because I know like there are bars that I have that are dense enough for me to explain it for like half a minute, and it happens in half a second. You know what I mean?
Mm-hmm.
or like something equivalent, right? Like my favorite one that just has those layers to it on the album is probably letting my foot where I'm stepping, don't get your ass trampled, stay out the way, right? You a hamper, right? You like, this is where it really starts for me. You a hamper, right? Right, you're hampering the situation. Stay out the way, you're a hamper, right? You only hold in which you know need to be folded, right?
Oh, yeah.
You're a hamper, right?
Crazy line. Crazy.
Right?
Yep.
You're only holding what you know need to be folded. Bad draws, right? So like bad draws being bad underwear, right?
Right.
Hamper, right? You're only holding what you know need to be folded. Bad draws, right? But then you only holding what you know need to be folded being poker hand.
Yep.
And then bad draws being poker hand, right? And then bad draws caricature, right?
Wow.
The character development, you know what I mean? And it's like, for me to have a line that exists that, or to unpackage, right? It just takes a little bit of time to unpackage, right? Another one I was working on for something I'm working on now is like, the way y'all was watching screens had me hiding my phone like my government was Thomas.
Yes. Yep.
And it's like, I don't know, like I had to sit there for a minute and a half and be like, all right, so there was this guy, Mike Thomas, right? My name is Michael. His name is Michael. His last name is Thomas. He played for the Saints. There was this one time where he made this play where he got a touchdown and he had hit a phone under the pylon of each of the end zones, right?
I remember.
And he had a phone, right? But it's like the play got set up, screen was red, he made it through the cut and had a fucking free lane, right? Got the touchdown and he had a hidden phone, right? Way y'all watching screens, but like, you know, like seeing what I'm doing. Got me hiding my phone like my government was Thomas, right? But it's like, bruh, it all just like, that's like one moment of time, right? Where he had that phone in his hand, right? How specific it needs to be, right? And I think that that's the thing that I hate about my writing, right?
But that's why, like, that's why I was, I talked about it in the episode. I was like, this dude is slick. He's slippery. Like, don't take this album and this tone of voice and these notes and think, oh boy, he's confessing. Like, you know, 4 L's tucked like he's losing in a series. Like, this is slick, slippery, like fun, like weird.
Like,
put this together.
I don't know. There are bars to me where it's like, if anyone is like leaning in close, it's me just like blowing air in their ear, like, you know what I mean? Just you know, like I'm here with you. You know what I mean? Like I'm trying to make this fun, you know?
Yeah. No, but there is super serious life mantra shit amidst that.
Yeah.
But it's so ill to me. Like, so this is my 5th question. My favorite life mantra on the album is on Other Side. When you say, I know life is weird, but I ain't really sporting any beef about it. It's a simple line, but it takes a life and a half lived to get to that stage of development. Like, you got to grow into that line, right? You've got to grow as a person to get to that point where you can say that and mean it.
Yeah. No, I mean, it was like
fucking crazy.
Like I had my history with whatever depression and shit, and it's just like at a certain point, because sadness is not depression, right? I think they're mutually exclusive. And at a certain point, I was just like, bro, I'm done being sad. You know what I mean? And that was a lot of what built this album, right? Like, just like choosing, you know what? Fuck it. It's cool. You know what I mean? They're literally like, bro, I'll be straight with you. Like, I have gotten my bank card, my debit card, attempts on it 6 times since I've moved into this apartment. I don't know what the fuck is good. You know what I mean? But it's cool. It's straight. You know what I mean? You will literally have to put a bullet through my brain to get me to stop taking this life as I'm taking it. And I'm having fucking fun now. You know what I mean?
Awesome.
Right? And it's just like, whatever, bro. As much as it's gonna happen, ain't nobody gonna try and kill me. You know what I mean?
Right.
And if they do, good fucking luck. You know what I mean?
Mm-hmm.
And at that point, it's just like, bro, why not? To literally anything that you would want to do, why not?
That's beautiful. I mean, that is absolutely should be the back of the CD, right? Like that's fucking awesome. No, I mean, I'm excited for it, and I'm excited for like because like I said, you set the standard with this. Nobody's going to be surprised by your next album being strange or not strange.
Perfect.
Right? Like,
right.
Yeah.
Cool. Because it's like, I don't know what you would classify this next thing I'm doing as, right? It's just like, to me, it lives right there. I made it while I was recording Big Smile. It's right next door. You know what I mean?
Right.
You can see it from Big Smile. You know what I mean?
Yep.
Like if you're there, you could, okay, you know what I mean? And you can look back and be like, got it, right? I don't know if it's that all that different. What I will say is year, right? I'm living in this year. I don't know how much I changed in the year, right?
Right.
But like this year is like already been like so experienced. And I'm saying starting the year with the drop of Big Smile. Until a year from then, I'm just doing what that leads to. And like what I will say, that project that I'm dropping, I'm looking at June, right? That's gonna have another pressing of Big Smile.
That's awesome.
Right? So this year is Big Smile for me, right?
Straight up. Yeah.
But like the projects that I'm putting out are still serious, right? I still really care about them, right? That one of my favorite lines that I've ever written is on this thing coming up, Yuzu Blossom. It was like, I earn pay for power, never that. I earn whatever play I got on my own. It's not much but comfort to cuddle up with when I die alone, and I'll be the little spoon. I submit my masculinity to fuller moons. I don't see how we could litter in these metal ruins, each movement more brittle than the last, grasp loosened from my windpipe. It was the first time I felt free enough to live life my way. Now what's the fucking catch? You know what I mean?
Ooh.
And it's like, that's one of my favorite lyrical stanzas I've ever hit, right?
Amazing. That's amazing.
But it's not too far off from how I was spitting on Big Smile, right? And the beats aren't honestly all that far off. But this shit with Messiah music, woo! That one's crazy, bro. I'm telling you right now, that shit is crazy. He's got me saying shit.
Yep.
He's got me saying, he had me saying some shit like that's like out in like psychedelia, right? And like they got they was banging on the dough drums with my skeletal remains. The reverberations remind the few that could hear him of a collective ennui. Give me a reflective minute to rest in peace, then weep. I don't know if they could feel the leak, adjust the drip, how long they telling us to hold on, just a grip. You feel me?
Give me a moment to rest in peace, then weep. Damn.
Yeah.
And I think trademark, we're talking about that generation, right? Now, I've been teaching my son about art and stuff and art history. And so he's like, what's a movement, Daddy? What's an art movement? And I said, son, it's a bunch of friends that change the world. Because that's it. That all the artistic movements were just like a bunch of friends sitting around in lawn chairs being like, this shit is whack. I want to do it this way. Right?
I mean, when you put it like that, it's a cool way to think about it. But like at the same time, it's like, the experience that I've had is only so mutual. You know what I mean?
Right.
Like, I only have so much crosstalk with a lot of these people, right? One of the most meaningful things, because Akai is like really hard to get in touch with.
Mm-hmm.
I've met him. I've hung out with him for a little bit. He's a really cool guy, but he's hard to get in touch with by design, and I appreciate it. I respect it. You know what I mean? But like, there was one thing where he said right after I put out the album, and it was like, I think I was trying to get in touch with him about some future shit.
Yeah.
All he said was, "You spazzing G, keep it up," or something like that. And I was like, you know what I mean?
Yeah.
But like, that's it. You know what I mean? It's not like I'm out in any lawn chairs with nobody. You know what I mean?
No, I mean, and Honestly, nobody is. It's COVID. You know, what are you gonna do?
Right, I mean, but
yeah.
even if it wasn't, bro, I'm a bit reclusive. I'm a bit reclusive, and I like it that way. And I'm really not even there. I seen on this. I'm sure you've seen this slums Reddit thread. You know what I mean? They put some shit where it was like underground Brooklyn rapper. I'm like, bruh, like, why? Why? Because what? Because like I didn't even hear, because it's like, bro, like, for whatever reason, saying it sounds like Earl is an insult these days, right? And it's like, I mean, I will say I get it, because not on the stance of being compared to one of the lyrical legends of this time, right? But what does Earl sound like? Tell me what the fuck Earl sounds like, right? You put East next to fucking Pigeons. What the fuck does Earl sound like? You know what I mean? Right. And it's just like, I think at that point you have a no conversation. You didn't listen hard enough to come up with your own opinion. I'm sorry. You know what I mean? And that's the same for lo-fi. That's the same for art rap. That's the same for alt rap. That's the same for low-ni. You know what I mean? Whatever the fuck people are calling it. You know what I mean? You're not listening hard enough. You're just trying to find a compartment that it fits in. We don't have this shape yet. You know what I mean?
Yep. Right. But and the best you can do is say that as a movement, as a generation, the characteristics of the music, some of the characteristics are that these projects are impactful because they're legacy based. To your point, these are albums they want you to hear 10 years from now and love.
It's not about being able to impress people right the fuck now and be consumed in this moment and have this grand display. It's being able to reach people and have the people that you reached maintain that with you, maintain that relationship with you, you know? And Gang taught me that about legacy work and world building. You know what I mean? Inviting someone into your home. You know what I mean? Like the amount of nuance and the amount of specificity that it would take to replicate that in an inauthentic way. You know what I mean? Your living room, how things are placed, the amount of things that are there that you would need to replicate and do so artificially is insane. You know what I mean? So it's just like, be yourself and the world follows, you know?
Right.
And I think it's just that dedication, that commitment to say like, nah, I'm here. And that's why I love, I mean, I assume that it's his government name, Monty, right?
Right.
I'm pretty sure, I honestly have no idea. No, I think I'm pretty sure Diani's is. I love that they go by their names because it's just like, this is who I am. This is who I have been. And Diani to me is one of the best examples of like a fully fermented soul, right? She has been that woman, and you can tell for probably damn near her whole cognizant life. Right. You know what I mean? And I mean that with the utmost respect. You know what I mean? Right. Because it's just like, you knew it. You know what I mean? When you were 7 or whatever age, you just were like, yep, got it. You know what I mean? And I'm moving that way now. You know what I mean? Yeah, and it all compounds onto that. You know what I mean? Right. Yeah. No, but just like, be you, right? You don't have time to waste, and your decisions define you, right? Yeah. So your songs define you. So don't waste it, right? Right. You've only got so many in you, right? So like, you got to put yourself in the right place. The right place. Yes. And I think that what you said there, you only got so many in you, is so funny, because it's like, right now, it just feels like floodgates, right? Because it's like, I'm 27, right? And this is my first time really releasing an album, right? First time really like taking it from I'm writing raps because I think it's fun to rap, but I didn't really love releasing music. And that's why I think a lot of it was not really well received, because it's like I didn't really like it, you know what I mean?
Right,
But like I didn't like it because I didn't have my own style or whatever. But like it was always just me rapping, you know what I mean? And like songs would come of it, you know what I mean? But I never had that dedication to an idea, right? To myself enough. Somewhere along the lines, some sort of confidence developed. And I was just like, well, this is what we're doing now. Fuck it, right? This is what we're doing. And like the Smile thing came about, and it was just commitment to that, right? And then it was like, dude, the longer the metaphor was around, the easier it became to write. My favorite 2 verses were the last 2 that I ever wrote for that album, right? Often Sedated and 2 Minutes to Run. And both of those came about through this collaboration with Tenpenny, right? Pepper Adams produced Often Sedated, and then BK produced 2 Minutes to Run. I remember BK, he had this album or this folder on Dropbox that was just like old beats, right? And he sent it to me months ago. And we're sitting there in February, maybe March, right? No, it was February, right? But I was going to record the album. Oh, no, it was later than that. It was mid-March. And I had gone down to the city, right?
Yep.
And recorded the album. It was done to my concern. Get back to the crib. Oh, like that whole trip, yeah, it was cool and all, but we forgot to turn the gain down on the input gain down on the mixer, right? So the whole thing is just bricked out. It's all shot. You can't really even use it, right? And I was just like, well, that's great. So got to do it again. In that process, I'm like doing the album, taking the album, and I'm like, for some reason, I'm like, yo, let me open this beat folder that BK has. And the first beat I play is a beat for 2 Minutes to Run. And I'm like, fuck. But it was like the perfect ending. You know what I mean? And I was just like, bet. That ties it for me. You know what I mean? Got to Grin was another like very, very similar circumstance where it was just like, it seems like it was just there. You know what I mean? And I needed to channel it for a second, but like that one, I love how short it is. But like, yo, Pleasant Sherman, my boy Zen. We've been playing Smash together since like 2018, something like that. 2019 maybe. I love that dude. And like it was coming around time to like being done with the album before any of this happened, right? Before I went down to the city in February. I was like, bro, I need an intro. Something, and I felt weird saying like something like 90-ish BPM soul samples, some strings would be nice. And he was like, I'll see what I can do. I can get it into you in a couple weeks. And I was like, I hate to be that guy, but I kind of need it like yesterday, bro. I'm going down to the city soon, right? And I hated saying it too. And then I go to my Gmail and I search for his name and I find this beat called Happy Birthday, Michael. And I was like, the fuck is this? I don't recognize this beat. And I open it up. The first bit is nice. It's cool. But then halfway through it, beat flips. And that's where it got to Grin is. And I was like, so you're telling me some 85-ish, generally around 90 BPM beat, soul string samples by you is just sitting in my email, unbeknownst to me, as I'm asking you for this.
That's awesome.
And I'm like, hey, yo, bro, never mind, you're good. You know what I mean? I threw him what I needed to throw him for the beat. And it's just like, I don't know. It was just like, it was there. You know what I mean?
Well, I think what you're talking about is like, is sometimes taking credit for your own shit can be hard because so many accidents happen that make it possible, right?
Exactly.
But like you start to realize over time, like not everybody uses their accidents to their advantage, right? So
Right.
like you have to give yourself credit as an accident organizer of sorts to be
I
able
guess
to
so.
get that out of it. You know what I mean? Like
Yeah.
orchestrator of accidents, like just making that shit happen.
Yeah, I mean, I like there are two titles that I've received that I really like. This is the one that I've like think that I'm going to use as a third, but like a curator and a communicator, right? Those are the two that I've been like, I can rock that. You know what I mean? But orchestrator of accidents sounds way more professional. You know what I mean? Like,
yeah. And I think honestly, I think it was like I think that was from it's an interview that like that dude Bogdanovich did with Orson Welles back in the day. And he was like, because he was telling Orson Welles a quote about that he talked to another director, and they were like, you know, a director is just someone like dealing with accidents all day. And Orson Welles said, one could say a director is the orchestrator of accidents. You know, like it's fucking cool. So,
right.
yeah. And I think that's kind of what this is, because there's so much going in and out, so many variables happening, and getting the right people in the right place, right song.
I don't even look at it, bro. I try not to look at it. Like my boy Mehdi, one of my best friends in this life, told me this like years ago when we were on our way to a melee tournament. He said, I've been trying to, and it was one of these passing things that I'm sure he doesn't even remember saying, you know what I mean? But it stuck with me for so long. This is borderline like 8 years ago, right?
Right.
Maybe 5, something like that. But like, he said, I've been trying to eliminate the use of value statements in my life. And I was like,
awesome.
That just changed the game for me. Not even thinking about it like these are the right people, right? These were just the people. You know what I mean? The only two people that I like really reached out and made a point of like, yo, I want to like have you on this album for no other reason than having your work on this album were Deem, Pink Sifu, and Ade. The only one I actually have a relationship with at this point is Deem, right? But every other person that went into that album was through some sort of trade, some sort of work or idea or exchange. You know what I mean? And it was just like, this is just like a partial checklist of just like people who have been like here with, you know what I mean? Because it's like, dude, I know what the fuck being broke is like. And like, I don't know. I mean, maybe I don't. I don't fucking know. But like, I've been strapped for fucking cash. You know what I mean? And I know how important ideas are. And it's like the idea of trading something for something.
Right.
But it's like, I think an interesting point that comes around with barter is the idea of value. You know what I mean?
Yep.
The value becomes so ambiguous. You know what I mean? Like I'm dealing with Elucid and Woods for this Haram thing, right? There's not money exchanged in this situation, right? It's just like me and Elucid have been working together for like 3, 4, 5, 8 months, whatever it is, you know what I mean? And it's like, we are going to continue working together in the future. And that's something that we've talked about and been like, yo, I'm glad to be like having this like sinusoidal type of interaction with you. Right. You know what I mean? Where we just keep on touching projects, this, that, the third, right? And it's been nice, right? And then the Arm & Hammer thing comes around and it's like, Woods is down with it. Okay, cool. Let's do it. You know what I mean? So it's just like, but it's not like I can go say that my work is worth what an Arm & Hammer feature would cost or an you know what I mean? Because it's like, I don't know what they charge for a feature, right? And if they charge me that, I'm not affording it, bro. You know what I mean? That's probably more than my rent for a month.
Right.
And if it's more than my rent for a month, I can't afford it. You know what I mean?
Yeah. And if you try and fit your experience in a general context, then
Right.
you don't have your experience anymore, right? And so
Yeah.
you need to stay within your journey and ride it out. And the value judgment thing is important because if you don't, you don't really know right, wrong, good, bad till the end of the story, right? If you ever do.
And even then, it's like, bro, every time I come down to this point where it's like, you like that statement right there in the back of my head is Mehdi saying, I've been trying to eliminate the use of value statements in my life. When you're dying, what the fuck is good, bad? You know what I mean? Right. It doesn't make any fucking sense. Did you do it? Yeah. Who gives a fuck what the quality of it was if you did it first? You know what I mean? Yep. I'm not saying if you did it before other people. You need to do something before it can be qualified, right? And it needs to be yours. Like it's yours. Right. Yeah. Right. Emulatory attempts are like interesting. There are always, because there's always this carried torch, right? Yep. But there are just more and more hands on, and who am I to fucking talk? There are more features on the album than there are songs. You know what I mean? Mm-hmm. But like this idea of just like Larry June. I love Larry June, but it's this idea of the sculptor, right? Yep. It's the sculptor. You are getting, like my mom loves this artist, Karen Kandinsky, right? She's this kind of like, I don't know, she's this like Massachusetts woman living out in Massachusetts, right? Mm-hmm. Making art. And my mom found her art, and she has made so many in the same series, right? And I've ended up talking to this woman. She's like a professional gallery artist. She sells her pieces for like 4 figures. You know what I mean? Yep. And I'm like, and she's like, talk to me about like, yo, like if you ever want advice on how to this, that, the third, I can give you some names, blah, 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 for your art. And I'm like, that's a lot to handle. You know what I mean? Totally. I don't know, right? But I'm always like looking at that, the bulk of work she does in that style, and she just gives it to people, and people love it, and this, that, the third. And it's just like, bro, I can't do that. It's so beautiful, but it's everybody has their own. Right, and it's gorgeous, dude. That's what gorgeous. Like that we were having this conversation on Twitter today about Pusha, right? Like that there are people who say like Pusha makes the same shit over and over again, and I'm like, no, man, he's growing within a tight space. He grows. He's defined a lane for himself, and he's like existing within that. Right. Bruh, I think like it's just a matter of like how much do you understand what this person is trying to do. It's not what they're saying. It's not the beat they're saying it over. It's not the record label that released it. What are they trying to do? And I think Seafood is the best example of that. Yep. You know what I mean? Because you have the Fly Seafood stuff, but at the end of the day, he's only ever put out 2 albums. Right. Right? And his second album, right? Sonically, again, it's literally just an entire fuck you for listening to my album. You know what I mean? 100%. But if you're still here at any given point, I love you. You know what I mean? Yes. And every moment is crafted with intimacy in mind, right? Red Burns is another great example, but I like the Pink Seafood example better because right at the end, this is before the deluxe edition came out, right at the end, and it's not even like the last track. It's 2.5 minutes into the last track, where the first 2.5 minutes are random conversations, right? Something that would likely get shut off in the midst of streaming culture, right? Right. About 2.5 minutes into the last track, he hits you with Ensley 2 type beat, right? His first album follow-up, and it's just like, bro, I cried listening to it because it was just like the amount of deliberation that goes into that decision to say, like, here's some ear fuckery, like borderline punk hardcore, not even borderline, like intentionally punk hardcore. Yep. At points, like some of the most contorted R&B ideas, blues ideas that you've heard in decades, just like constant stream of just like catharsis, right?
Yep.
And then right at the end, he just opens it up to you for a second. Like, oh, by the way, I genuinely and truly, utterly love anybody who's ever been here with me and truly has faith in me. But I know you needed to have faith to get to this point in this album. You know what I mean?
Yep.
And once you're here, and that's why I think you have like these deluxe, like the deluxe edition has these, like there's that song with Woods on it. These more conventional hip hop songs. You needed to subscribe to the idea.
Yep.
It's the same album, right? It's just him opening the fold. You know what I mean?
Right.
Y'all didn't know this was there.
No, and that was the whole like the craziness of me just saying like and opening the state of the game by being like, look, I'm kind of drawing on Jungian archetypes because I want to present parts of a personality. I want to say like there's this over here, there's this way over here, there's all these
right. And it's the trajectory of it all, right?
Yep.
How did these add up to the whole? And I think that like, because you see a Sifu at the same time he's releasing Fly Sifus, right?
Yep.
He's releasing such attainable, palatable music for a listener, right?
Right.
And he's doing it effortlessly.
And you could see some of that was for him, right? Like you come out of that album and it's so hard and it's so there's so much experimentation going on. And he's Fly Sifus is him having so much fun with Fly Ann, rapping his ass off. Like
Be Kool-Aid too. I saw him performing as like with Ali as Be Kool-Aid at Young World. And it was just like, dude, I don't think that there's many moments where that dude isn't having fun. Right? And that album comes from all the moments where he was reminded that like I can't always have fun in this life. You know what I mean?
Yep.
Because of other people, right?
Yep.
And like, and it goes so much deeper than that. And again, I don't have the jurisdiction to speak on a lot of these ideas. You know what I mean? But that's what it comes off as to me. And I think that's one of my favorite albums of the decade. You know what I mean?
Mm-hmm.
Because it's what he's doing. He's militarizing his platform for a cause that seems very wholesome to the general trajectory of our society and music itself, right? And I think that that is what you can ask for a lifetime artist, right?
Yep.
And that's what you can ask D'Angelo at this point in his career.
Mm-hmm.
You know what I mean?
Yep.
That's what you can ask fucking Ron Isley at this point in his career.
Right.
You know?
Right.
I mean, I think Liv is of that caliber, Stevie. I think he's just like, he's one of these artists that knows he has something truly transcendental to say. You know what I mean?
That's beautiful. No, he's cut from a different cloth to be. Right. Yeah. And it's been such a gift. Like on the state of the game, I referred to Gang as like my Yoda. It's been such a gift to have him on the timeline.
He's crazy, bro.
Reset and just he's
a deep motherfucker.
Right.
Gang, bro. I remember, and I gotta give credit to Vritra, Hal. You're familiar with him?
No.
Did you ever it was Odd Future, Jet Age of Tomorrow?
Oh yeah,
so he was part of that group. He I mean, and I honestly Bird, B-U-R-D, by him and Wilma Archer, right? One of the better records of the year that it came out. I think it was 2018 and 2019, one of the two, right? But yeah, that was an outstanding record, like out fucking standing. Shallow Graves is like one of the best songs I've heard from him in a long time. But just to put a point out there that I don't think that Jet Age of Tomorrow should be what he's remembered for. You know what I mean? It's not his inclusion in Odd Future. You know what I mean?
Right.
You just
Right.
might remember him from, right? But he did such a good job of trimming that conversation I had with Gang down and still capturing the idea of it. Because that is a non-linear conversation in presentation, right?
Right.
Like Vritra chopped it. The conversation itself, chopped it, flipped it, and like gave it through the trajectory that I trusted him to tell without truly conveying it. You know what I mean? I had like a 30-second conversation with him. Like, yo, can you make this kind of about like FaceTime is good? You know what I mean? And then he's like, cool, got you. And then came up with a whole orchestration for it, flipped it. And I'm just like, and he gave me 2 versions and the conversation went a little bit different in between the 2 versions. And I'm like, yo, you're crazy. You're crazy. That's cool. Thank you. Just for going that hard. You know what I mean?
Yep.
And then it kind of opened up the idea me and Gang are trying to play with.
Love it.
Of doing, like, I talked to him about possibly doing, you know what? I'll save this for when we stop recording. But
Save it.
Yeah.
But yeah, we've been at it, man. I will say, listen, go to Big Flowers Bandcamp, follow that, get the album, get the merchandise.
There's none left. There's literally none left. I don't make a lot, and I'm not trying to pull the bullshit artificial scarcity thing up, but I'm also just not trying to sit here with like, you know.
No.
But there's more coming. You know what I mean?
Follow
like,
it so you get the updates. Follow it. So
this year, big smile. You feel me? This year's, for me, it's just like celebrating that album. Like, if you like that album, if you're here for that album, the rest of the music is kind of like in that same vein for the rest of this year, at least.
That's dope.
At least in present, you know. I don't know what else it entails, but I'm also planning on doing a good amount more like presses of like Big Smile things. Like, not like saying I'm gonna do what I did already, right? But like, if you didn't get a Big Smile cassette,
right?
Don't be too upset. You know what I mean?
Totally. And I think, yeah, I would say thank you for people who are watching and have watched the whole deal.
Yeah, seriously, that's crazy.
Sam Greer for everything you've done. So